By the way, I ask you about you, and still, you're such a kind man. But your mother is this amazing. I thought I knew a lot about your dad. I did not know that just 4 days after his passing that she did that. It reminds me of two things I just want to tell you. It's interesting behind these men that are so well known, or their women, is two conversations. One was President Bush, the original President Bush, um, and he drives up to a gas station with Barbara, and she sees an ex-boyfriend there, and President Bush says to Barbara, "Boy, aren't you glad that you married me, because you'd be married to this guy pumping gas?" And she says, "Aren't you glad you married me, because you pumping gas and he'd be president?" and and then as I got to know people around the Obamas very well, it's very interesting that you talk that way about your mom sort of being there first, because people that really know the Obamas very well will tell you, if you'd have met the Obamas when they were at University of Chicago, and you said, which one of these two is going to be the one to break out and be this, powerful political leader? Most people, 90% would have told you it'd be Mrs. Obama, because she was the more kind of active and out there one than Barack Obama was. And so it's very interesting to hear that about your mom. And I'm really glad for me personally to learn that lesson. So 2 last questions. I've enjoyed this so much. What can I do if I'm a person listening to this or watching this and you say, hey, I'd like to make a difference in poverty. I'd like to make a difference in racial and social issues. What advice would you just give? I think people think I can't do anything. I'm just sitting here at my apartment or my house and, just getting by in my life. What difference could I possibly make? What would you say to them?
Well, the first thing I would say is that today, if you think about, the movement that my father was one of the leaders of, the modern civil rights movement. I mean, we have every tool at our disposal today to be able to accomplish almost any objective because of the internet. They didn't have anything but mimeograph machines.
Yeah.
And they were able to organize, movements and create a strategic plan to help get a Civil Rights Act, to help get a Voting Rights Act, to help get fair housing legislation. So today we have the ability to connect with any and everyone because of technology. The first thing I think someone has to do is to find out, what is your passion? Because we're only going to really have time to work on the issues that are very important to us. None of us can do everything, but every one of us can do a little bit. One of the things I learned was, as a kid, I went to my mom's undergraduate institution called Antioch College. And on that college was a statue of the educator Horace Mann. And under that statue was an inscription that made a profound impact on my life. And it said, "Be ashamed to die until you've won a victory for humanity." And I was probably 13, 14 the first time I saw that. But I came back subsequently many times. And I kept thinking about that and how profound it is. Be ashamed to die until you've won a victory for humanity. And I said, how do you do that? And I had to break it down. I said, we can win a victory in our neighborhood. Yeah. Some of us may win victories in our schools. Some may win victories in our places of worship. Some may win victories in our city, some in our state, some in our nation, and some in our world. All those words basically mean are be ashamed to die until you've done a little something to make the world in which we all must live a little better than it was when you arrived.
I want to just say something to you, and I know it doesn't need to be said, but I'm so sure your mother and father are so proud of you. And it's one of the real honors of my lifetime today to get to talk with you. I just want you to know that. And it's a sincere honor to get a chance to speak with you. And I know they're proud of you, but I'm just listening to you and watching you and just thinking, my gosh, she's so proud of you. She's so proud of you.
Let me share one thing on that. And thank you so much for those comments, because there were very few things that would bring tears to my eyes. But my mom, at a certain point when I got to be over 18 or maybe even 25 or 30, and she would say that, she said, your father would be so proud of you. And that was one of the few things where I would almost shed tears, because you often wonder, again, 10-year-old Martin never having a chance to have an adult conversation with dad. And all we all want, most of us want to make our parents proud. And so for her to say that just meant, I mean, I may have been older, 35 or something, made me feel really good. I remember when I was running for public office, I ran for county commissioner here in Atlanta, which is comparable to supervisor out in California.
Yeah.
And my mom really didn't want me to run. So I had to demonstrate to her that this is what I wanted to do. And once I did that, you know, she's 1,000% behind it. Yeah. Why would you want to do that? You're going to be ostracized. You're going to be criticized. You know, I mean, it's a thankless job. Somebody's got to do it, but you don't have to. You know? So when I convinced her, she was my biggest cheerleader. And that was always the case. I think, you know, with my siblings as well. So, you know, I am so grateful. I really do believe that to him or her that much is given, of him or her is much required. And we try to provide examples for our daughter, my wife and I, because they are, as you having children, anyone who has children know how impressionable they are. And they are sponges. And so I've noticed her, I mean, she does things sometimes that are amazing, because if I'm saying something that is wrong, he will correct me. I'm saying, wait a minute, you just got here yesterday. How you going to correct me?
My friend,
what she said, I know is correct.
Believe me, I relate to that one. And it sounds like, boy, do I relate to that one. That happened today, just so you know, about 3 hours before this. She was listening to another call I'm on, rolling her eyes. Dad, that's not right. It's happened. But it sounds like with your daughter, the legacy is going to continue. So last question. Listen, we've talked about sort of baseline in the world. One thing that I pride myself on is getting people to dream, though, in their life. And obviously, probably the most famous talk your dad's ever given is "I Have a Dream." And I would be messing up if I didn't ask you this question at least. There's millions of people that are listening to this, and hopefully several 100,000 to millions that watch it too. They're sitting there thinking, you know, I want to make a difference in the world, but also I want to make my dreams happen. And you have been up close and personal, both during his life and then post, to a man whose dream is still evolving every single day. But he had one of the biggest, boldest dreams of all time, was your father's. And you've carried that. You know, you said that you don't focus on the burden of it, but I watch your face when I ask you the question. There's certainly a burden that comes with making a dream come true. Would you give any advice to people about having a dream, pursuing it? You know, anyone listening to this right now, especially during COVID, it's so easy to just go, I just want to survive. I just want to get back to, but you know what? You weren't born to just get by. You were born to do something great with your life in big ways and small ways. And I don't want anybody listening to this to forget that. And I just thought maybe you would make a comment on that at the end about anybody with a dream. What would your counsel be to them? So
I would always say that, you know, we have to somehow, as a human species, have some resilience, because it's very easy to get distracted. And it really is, life is challenging today, but out of every challenge, there also are great opportunities. Do you know how many times I say to people that Henry Ford may have failed? It may have been 1,000 times. It doesn't take but one. One success. That's all you need. And all of a sudden, doors open up. So you can never, if you really have a dream, you should never give up on it. You continue to work, even if you're an older person. If you have a dream, it can be accomplished. We see it happening probably every day. We may not know about it, but every day someone is fulfilling dreams. And when I think about what our ancestors had to overcome, I mean, you know, people could have their hands cut off for reading, Black people, that is, because it was illegal for Black folks to read. Somehow people have overcome, and no matter who you are, everybody, there are people who've overcome things that it's hard to understand. But my point is, we have to take that energy and apply it and say, you know what, if they could do it, then I can do it as well.
I pray everybody stayed to the end. I just hope they're still with us. God bless you. And
you too. Thank
Mr.
you.
King, thank you so much for today. It was a true honor. And I'm so glad we got to do this today. So thank you so much for being here. Please follow Martin on social media, you guys. Get involved with the campaign on Let's Engage. And thank you again so much, Martin.
Thank you. Thank you. Have a wonderful evening and bless you. And
God
all the things that all this that you do often to share with so many, because people need uplifting right now, particularly right now. I mean, we're looking at the number of young people that are committing suicide. The pandemic has caused some great strife, but we are strong and resilient, and we will overcome this too.
I'm going to do my little part. I'm going to try all I can. So, hey, everybody, you got to share today's show. Don't play around with this one. Share this with people that you love and that you care about, and to spread the word. So thank you again. Max out, everybody. God bless you. Hey guys, thanks for sticking around. If you'd like more, click the videos right here. They're exactly what you need to see next. And if you're new here, hit subscribe and become a part of the Max Out community. And tell me what you think about the videos in the comments below. I read all of them every week, and I select winners that get all kinds of prizes, gear, coaching calls with me. Make a comment.